It was Britain's boldest experiment in small car design, a machine that dared to challenge the mighty Mini. In the early 1960s, when front-wheel drive was redefining motoring, the Rootes Group took the opposite path. They placed the engine at the back, not the front, and built a lightweight car unlike anything else on British roads. Its name was the Hillman Imp, a tiny, rear-engined marvel promising clever engineering, Scottish pride, and surprising speed. For a brief, shining moment, it looked ready to outpace the Mini and revolutionize Britain's small car market. But behind its charm lay a tale of bold ambition, technical brilliance, and industrial struggle. A story born not in London or Coventry, but in the rolling green hills of Scotland, where a new kind of British car, the rocket, first took flight. The Hillman Imp began as a mission to survive. By the late 1950s, Rootes, a proud but aging British manufacturer, was losing ground. The Mini had stunned the market, Ford's Anglia was thriving, and Rootes desperately needed a modern small car. But rather than copy the Mini's front engine, front-drive layout, their engineers aimed higher. They wanted something advanced yet affordable, a car that blended racing innovation with family practicality. Their inspiration came from the lightweight Coventry Climax engine, originally built for water pumps and Formula Junior racers. What if such an engine powered a compact four-seat car? The result was radical, a small, all-aluminum rear-mounted engine paired with independent suspension and a full synchromesh gearbox. It was sophisticated, sporty, and utterly unlike any British car before it. To make it real, Rootes would build an entirely new factory, not in England, but in Scotland. The decision to build the Imp in Scotland was both patriotic and political. Post-war governments wanted to bring industry to struggling regions, and Linwood, near Glasgow, was chosen for the new plant. Thousands of jobs were promised to an area still recovering from shipyard decline. In 1963, the first Imps proudly rolled off the Linwood line, watched by ministers and news cameras. It was a moment of national optimism, a symbol of progress and unity. But behind the celebrations, challenges brewed. The plant was hundreds of miles from Rootes' suppliers and headquarters in southern England, making logistics a nightmare. Workers were skilled but inexperienced with precision car assembly, and teething problems were inevitable. Still, the Imp was launched with confidence. To the public, it seemed a triumph, a modern, stylish, small car built with pride in Scotland. Few yet realized that this bold northern experiment would become both its greatest strength and its downfall. Technically, the Hillman Imp was a masterpiece. Its 875cc aluminum engine was derived from a Coventry Climax racing design, light, smooth, and rev-happy. With just 39 horsepower, it wasn't a powerhouse, but it loved to rev and gave the car real personality. Its rear-engine layout gave superb traction, while its independent suspension and rack and pinion steering made it agile and precise. The Imp's balance and handling were exceptional, earning praise from motoring journalists. On paper, it outclassed the Mini in refinement, comfort, and sophistication. Yet the same innovations that made it special also made it delicate, and when production quality faltered, those fine tolerances became its curse. When the Hillman Imp arrived in showrooms in May 1963, the press response was glowing. It was described as the small car for the intelligent driver, fun, lively, and far more advanced than its rivals. Reviewers loved its smooth engine, comfortable ride, and relaxed cruising speed. For a small car, it felt grown up. Early buyers were charmed by its character, that distinctive rear-engine hum, and the sense of owning something different. But it didn't take long for reality to catch up. Early models suffered from niggling faults, overheating, sticking throttles, water leaks, and inconsistent carburation. These weren't design flaws so much as production ones, caused by inexperience at the new Linwood plant. But to the public, it didn't matter. Reliability issues hit hard. The Imp's image, once bright and modern, began to tarnish. What should have been Rootes' comeback became its costly headache. Roots launched a massive campaign to win hearts. Ads called the Imp the car that thinks for itself, highlighting its clever features: an automatic choke, a rear window heater, and a hatchback engine cover. Commercials showed it zipping through country lanes, playful and quick, a true British rocket. For a time, the strategy worked. Young families appreciated its affordability, and students loved its cheeky charm. Variants like the Singer Chamois and Sunbeam Imp Sport widened its appeal, and the Imp even found success in Europe and Australia. But as warranty claims piled up, confidence faltered. Roots poured money into repairs. The Linwood plant struggled to keep up, and management was stretched thin. By 1967, the company, once a giant of British motoring, was in serious financial trouble. Salvation, it seemed, might come from across the Atlantic. That year, American car giant Chrysler took control of Roots, hoping to expand into Europe. To the Scots at Linwood, it felt like a new chapter. To Roots veterans, it was bittersweet. Chrysler wanted efficiency, not experimentation. The Imp's complex aluminum engine and unique layout didn't fit their production philosophy. Costs were high, and the Mini, cheaper and simpler, dominated the market. Chrysler trimmed investment, focusing instead on new, more conventional cars like the Avenger. The Imp was left to age quietly. Yet in enthusiast circles, its qualities remained appreciated. Drivers admired its balance, its rev-happy engine, and the way it handled twisty roads. Even as sales declined, affection for the Imp never vanished. It had spirit, and people felt it. But by the early 1970s, its days were clearly numbered. If the Imp struggled in showrooms, it shone on the track. Lightweight, rear-engined, and perfectly balanced, it became a sensation in club motorsport. Tuners quickly discovered that the tiny 875 cubic centimeter engine could easily be tuned past 80 horsepower, more than double its factory output. The Sunbeam Imp Sport, Stiletto, and Rally models gained a cult following among racers. On rally stages across Britain and Europe, Imps surprised bigger cars with their nimble handling and uncanny grip. In 1965, Rosemary Smith's works Imp famously won the Tulip Rally, beating far larger machines. For a car built to commute, it had the heart of a racer. By the early 1970s, the world had moved on. Emissions laws tightened, new competitors arrived, and Chrysler's priorities shifted. The Imp, once seen as futuristic, now seemed dated. Production continued with small updates. The Imp Sport, the Sunbeam Stiletto, but sales kept sliding. In 1976, after more than 400,000 Imps built, the final car rolled off the Linwood line. The closure marked the end of Scotland's car industry and one of Britain's boldest automotive experiments. The Linwood plant was later demolished, leaving behind memories of what might have been. Yet, the Hillman Imp's spirit endures. Among enthusiasts, it's celebrated as a masterpiece of British ingenuity, a car that dared to be different, that captured a nation's imagination, and that, for a brief, shining moment, truly earned the name, the British rocket.